All right, everyone. Mike, Growing the Glass. Today I have something new, a toy. I was offered a taproom kit by Pinter, and they are based out of the UK. They've moved over to the United States for some of their operations as well. And they sent me two Pinters with two different Pinter beer kits. I'm starting off with Dark Matter because I love a stout, but I also have an IPA that we'll be filming in a few days using the other Pinter. Anyhow, let's see what we have here. First of all, it comes with the Pinter itself. There's a dock, your tap handle, and this little cover. This is going to brew 1.5 gallons or 12 liters of beer. In this case, like I said, a stout. And we're going to see how this works. Never used it before. It's my first time. See what we've got. All right, so on the box is a QR code that we're going to use our camera to scan and get the instructions. Now, I'm not a troglodyte. I'm not afraid of technology. I like technology. I also like a piece of paper in here that has the instructions written out rather than having to use a phone. In this case, Adam is filming on my phone, so I have his phone. He didn't have the Pinter app. We had to download it, so it just took us about 5 minutes. Not that big a deal, but I'm old. So let's scan this QR code. It says to download the Pinter app again, which we've already done. So do you need to have the Pinter app open in the background? Let's see. Okay, honestly, I'm not a stupid person. I might seem it sometimes, but this should be a little bit more intuitive, in my opinion. So we're gonna pause until we figure this out. All right, I'm back. So anyhow, again, it's not that difficult. It just could have been a little bit easier or more intuitive. So what we had to do is, on Adam's phone, we had to download the Pinter app, which I had already done on mine. We had to add a Pinter, and we had to give it a name and add the serial number. It's a 6-digit number. It takes about a minute to do all of it. And then here we go. So we've got one, it's GITG, Growing the Glass, right? Your Pinter is idle. We're not doing anything with it yet. So let's start brewing. So we start brewing. We come down to the kit that I'm using here is the Dark Matter, and it gives you brewing timeline suggestions. You've got the recommended, which is going to be a 12-day brew. You've got a minimum, which says that it will offer a slightly sweeter flavor and fuller aroma for 7 days. And then there's a custom. You can choose how you want to do it. We're going to go with the recommended only because we've never used this before. So let's make a beer. So brewing, conditioning, and tapping date. All of that information is right there. We're going to start our brew. Today's date is 22nd of July, 2024. And it looks like on the 3rd of August, we'll be able to drink this beer. All right, so no, I don't need any help. I don't want to edit timelines. Just give me the instructions. All right, ready to move to the next stage. Done purifying? Nope, not yet. So let's get the purifier kit out. All right, so we've got this figured out here on how to purify it. I've already cut the purifier open a little bit so that I can speed this up when it comes time for that. But the instructions are right here on the app. So before you start, you do the purifying instructions, and it will go through what you need to do, step 1, etc. So the first step is to take this and set the carbonation level, and there's a carbonation dial on the back, which is kind of interesting. I think that that's going to be pretty neat because that allows you to brew different styles of beer. So I've set it to 5 as the instructions ask me to. And then I've already removed the parts. So the handle has come off, the cap has come off, and this has come out. Okay, we're going to check the tap collar. That's this right here. I've already confirmed that it's nice and tight. It's fully screwed into the Pinter. So now the next step is to pour the purifier into the Pinter. There we go. Pretty straightforward. Then it's going to ask me to add hot water all the way to the top. It says a black line. If you look inside, it's mostly white, and then there is this right here extends down, so there's a black portion right there. That's what they're talking about. So I've already got that set to hot. I let it run for a couple of minutes to make sure it was nice and hot, and I'm just gonna let that fill. All right, so this is filled up to the proper line. It says on the next step is to make sure that the conical is attached to the main cap, which is how it's shipped. I've already checked it, it's on there nicely. So the next step is to screw the cap onto this. So far, so good. Make it nice and tight. The very next step is shake the pinter. There are two handles here. You've got the one handle here, and then there's another handle on the back. And so we just shake it. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake.
We got a complaint from the car's representative, so you can't do shake it up anymore.
No. And I don't have a groove thing, so. All my exercise for the day.
You're not going to get this type of content anywhere else on the internet.
No. I can go all night. So the instructions are pretty clear. They even have animation, which is nice. So the next step is to attach this dock. And there's tabs to line up here. You're going to attach it. Oh, there you go. You got to press down on it a little bit, and then you turn it. So now it's on there. So I'm going to pick it up by the dock. I'm not going to manhandle it. Next thing is check for alignment, which I just did. Turn it over and wait. So take this using the handle, and we're going to do, whoops, I turned on the sink. It's like, what is that strange sound? So we're going to just turn it over and wait. It says for 10 seconds. So next step is to purify the brewing dock. In order to do that, you're going to rotate it anti-clockwise, or here in the States, counterclockwise, to release the purified brewing dock. So I'll put my handle up again. Anti-clockwise, and release. And then it says to empty out the dock. So this is allowing us to sanitize both the pinter and the dock. So I'll set that aside.
It was interesting to see how much liquid actually went down in there.
Yeah. So it does a pretty decent job with that. All right. Next thing is turn the carbonation dial back to 0 or off, which I've done.
And I heard a little air escaping.
I did hear that as well. It says purify the carbonation dial. Turn the pinter upside down, lift it, and let the purifier flow through the carbonation dial for 10 seconds. When set to the off position, the carbonation dial is open and will let water through the valve. So we're going to just turn it over, let it run for 10 seconds. So, where's this thing? There it is. All right. So as you can see, there is some water. It's not pouring out, but it's certainly coming through.
10 seconds.
That's about 10 seconds. All right, so I've got the handle. I'm gonna put that on. Just snaps into place. And then it says to open the handle, let it run for about 5 seconds to purify the tap itself. So we'll do that. And that's about 5 seconds. Next step is to open this and drain it out. So we're going to just take the handle right back off to get it out of the way. Going to use the handle to unscrew. Okay. So again, we're looking at about 1.5 gallons of water, I assume, because that's how much beer we are going to brew with this.
Total time for this was probably, what, about 5-10 minutes?
Yeah,
that we did?
Take away the time that, because I didn't prep, I wanted to treat it as if you just bought it and you're like me and using it for the first time. Had to download the app on another phone and do certain things. not a big deal. I had already downloaded the app. Had I known that I would need it, we wouldn't have filmed with my phone. But anyway, so here we go. All right, so now we've entered the brewing phase on the app here, and it advises to turn the carbonation dial back to 5. That's done. Easy peasy. Okay, next, add water to the fill line. So just like I did before. Now, I've read online that when you're doing a stout or something, regular tap water is fine. It can be a little bit hard. It actually improves the stout, but I like to go with the RO water, the reverse osmosis, so I'm going to do that.
And that turned out well for our Hefeweizen.
Oh, it turned out very well for the Hefeweizen. Now, we've used spring water in the past. This is completely up to you, I think. I could have just gone with the tap water. We're on a well. I'm sure it's fine, but I like the RO, so that's what I'm going with.
One of the things that we've learned in this homebrewing process is to go with the water that you like the taste of.
Yeah, because the water is going to impart a lot of the flavor of any beer that we're brewing. And you've seen us, hopefully, with the 4 other home brews that we've done, using a full kit from More Beer. The traditional kettle and wort chiller and fermenter and all of that. If you haven't, go back and watch those. This is just an alternative. This is for somebody, I'm thinking of my older son. He's 24, lives in an apartment. He's not going to be able to set up a camp stove and use a kettle out on his balcony. I mean, he can't even have a grill out there. So this would be ideal for someone like him, I would think. Or just anyone that doesn't want to have a lot of supplies.
You like maybe a lot of draft beer, but you don't want to have the whole process of getting a keg.
Right.
That whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Downside to this versus the big kit is that we're brewing 5 gallons at a time. This is going to brew 1.5 gallons. I mean, there's trade-offs everywhere. This is less expensive than buying the kit. And as a matter of fact, promo code in the description down below for anyone interested in buying this. And I think I get something out of it. I think I get a couple of bucks that I would probably use towards more beer kits and then show those on the channel. So
Can't argue against the convenience.
No, I think it's $50 off for you, and I get like 20 bucks or something like that. And I think most of these kits are about $27. So factor that in also. About $27 for 1.5 gallons. Do the math and figure this thing lists for $1.99. I've seen it all over the internet for $99. I don't know if you can use the $50 off discount code. Give it a shot. Let me know in the comments. I don't know how that works. Anyhow, this is filling. It's going to fill nice and slowly. So we'll be back in a minute. Okay, so the pinter is full with the RO water. Now it's time to add the liquid malt extract. This is going to be 2 pounds, 3 ounces, 1 kilogram of liquid malt extract. The aromas are chocolate and toasted, and this is going to come out to a 5.0 ABV. So if you remember when I did the Hefeweizen, I commented on the plastic container that the liquid malt extract came in and how it was a little bit difficult to handle because it made such a mess. Partly that was my fault because I had put it in the fridge first and didn't let it thaw, as well, or warm up as well. But I had mentioned in that some places like More Beer and local homebrew places will sell their extracts in a bag. And I am already finding this to be much, much easier. So I'm just going to kind of fold it over a little bit. I want to make sure to get as much of that chocolatey, roasty goodness in there as possible. Again, this is 1 kilogram. If we were talking kilograms, we were using probably about 4 times as much, I believe, with our other kits. I almost licked that right off my fingers. Probably gross, so I'm not going to do that. But anyhow, so that's in there. The next step is to add the yeast. Now, Pinter has different yeasts for different products that they sell. This is the loyalty yeast. I did look over it, and it looked like that was a pretty commonly used one, but they do have some other yeasts available. The next step after adding, this is already, all right. The next step after adding the yeast would be to set aside the hopper. But this particular brew kit, this stout, doesn't use hops. So we don't need to worry about that. We're gonna skip that step. So I've got that on there. Re-secure the cap. Make sure it's on there nice and snug, because guess what we're doing again? And by we, I mean Adam, because I'm all shook up. So it's his turn now to do some shaking for 60 seconds. So you made fun of me for 30, let's make fun of Adam. All right, so it's Adam's turn to shimmy and shake.
Feels pretty solid.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Feels really quality.
Yeah, I thought this is kind of plasticky, and I wonder how these handles are gonna hold up as we're shaking it pretty vigorously, and it's fine. It's actually very well built. So
It's got like a faux powder coating.
yeah.
Just a really nice plastic.
Yep. So again, this tap room kit, they sent me 2 of them. I've got this blue one, I've got a red one, which are the 2 colors I would have chosen anyhow, but they just sent them to me. As part of the agreement on this tap room kit, I'm supposed to invite some people over, so that was part of the process. I had sent out an invitation, I think like 5 or 6 people, and we're gonna have them over when I tap it. You're one of them. So we're gonna check this out, and we'll see how they like it, and we will film their reaction as well. So we're getting ready for the brew process. It's been a minute, you're done. All right, so Adam did all the work this time. And it's time to reattach this dock. Just make sure it's completely cleaned out. Let's line up our tabs. Remember to press down a little bit this time, because I didn't realize it last time. That's on there. Okay, I'm going to turn it over, and you can hear it. And guess what, folks? We've done the brewing phase. We set this aside for 5 days. Now I'm going to have to go in on that phone that we're filming with here in a couple of minutes as soon as we're done, and I'm going to put this in because I will get alerts from the app telling me when it's time to move on to the conditioning phase. So I've got 5 days of brew time. I've got 5 days, I believe, of conditioning time, and then we get to tap it, and I can't wait to try it. This should be ready on August 3rd. Again, today is July 22nd. Pretty easy. All right, so some final thoughts on this. This video is probably going to be about as long as our other homebrew videos. I haven't been paying close attention to how long we've actually been filming here. Some of that was due to the frustration of not knowing what to expect, not knowing the unknown, downloading an app and doing things like that. You've watched this video, so you know to prepare ahead, and you won't have those pitfalls. Overall, this is a very simple process. I mean, you saw how easy it was. You fill it up with water, you add the liquid malt extract, you add the yeast, you shake it up a bit, you attach it to a dock, and you're done. If I had an apartment or I didn't have a lot of space, I just wanted to brew something small, a smaller batch, this would definitely be something I'm interested in. Overall, I'm very pleased with the product itself. Adam had mentioned the finish and the quality of it. So far, so good. The most important thing, though, is how does it taste? And I think that's the one thing that we're going to be curious about. And on August 3rd, we're going to taste it. But I'll bring you along on this journey, and you can make up your own mind about whether you would want one or not. So far, I'm giving today a B, B+. Had I prepared, it's probably an easy A. 4 hours of process involved using the kettle and wort chiller and fermenter and all that versus probably 15 minutes of doing this, if that. Yeah, the output is a lot smaller, but this should be fine for most people, I would think. Any thoughts you have, Adam?
No, should be good.
Okay. What are your initial thoughts on this so far?
I'm be curious to see what it's going to taste like, what the beer will taste like, since we didn't cook anything.
Right.
Since it's just straight away, it's going to be kind of like a natural fermentation there. In that force pressurized, really. It's going to be a high pressurized fermentation. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we just leave it out at room temperature for 5 days, which that's not how we've done this before. I mean, we do in the fermenter, but it's closed. We're watching for fermentation and things like that. You can't see anything here. You're not going to see a krausen. You're not going to see any bubbling up. It does say to expect some noise. I'll check in on that later. Overall, like I said, I think this is a pretty good idea in principle. Let's see how it works out once we actually taste the final product. I'm going to be doing an IPA also. That will have the additional step of attaching the hopper, and that's where you would attach the hoppers right up here if you want to check that out. There's a little port right up there below the carbonation dial. But we'll see how that goes as well. Should be pretty easy. Thanks for watching.